you action figure enthusiasts out there. JC here with another TNINEWS video. Now, it's been a pretty slow week overall, but there were some things I wanted to share with you guys today. This is my one and only news video for this week. Things are probably going to start ramping up next week as we start heading closer and closer to the time period of when San Diego Comic-Con would be taking place. But for today, like I said, I just have a few things I wanted to share with you guys. But before we get into the news, just my reminder about the contest I have going on right here on YouTube, where I'm giving away $100 store credit to Big Bad Toy Store. I will put a link to the video with the details on that if you have not yet checked it out. We also have the two other contests on both Marvelous News and Toy News International, where we also give away $100 store credits. So that's 3 different opportunities for you to win essentially free toys. And links to all of those, again, are in the video description below. All right, so let's get into the news, and well, let's start off with talking about the latest online pre-order debacle. This one is another one that another feather that we can put in Hasbro's cap, and this comes in regards to Transformers. Yesterday, Hasbro officially announced their Transformers Back to the Future crossover figure. I talked about how they had teased that before, and it did in fact turn out to be a DeLorean figure, Transformer figure, completely new figure, not just a repaint of something they'd already done. So pretty cool overall. Comes in pretty cool packaging, and basically you can have them in hover mode and robot mode. Probably the thing at least about it is the kibble that you can see in the windshield, and its car mode does stand out a little bit, but otherwise, I would say it's a pretty cool looking Transformer. And the official name for him is Gigawatts, so I don't know if he's an Autobot or a Decepticon. I assume he's some type of Autobot. He doesn't actually have Autobot or these Kit Bash mashup ones don't really seem to have actual Autobot or Decepticon symbols on them, but I'm going to assume he's probably a good guy. So, and there's also going to be an IDW limited 4-issue series with this character being done by IDW, and that's due out in October. Now, here's where the hiccup / debacle came in. So Hasbro announced this figure, officially announced it yesterday, and yesterday there's supposed to be a variant version, which is just a minor packaging variant, which has numbering. Walmart is supposed to be releasing a 1985, 1,985 of these through their website in celebration of when the movie was released and everything. So Walmart was supposed to be putting up theirs up for pre-order yesterday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's what was promoted. Hasbro put out an official press release. When Hasbro put out the official press release, it said, "This is up for pre-order now." And of course, when you clicked on the link that Hasbro provided, the page, it was a dead link. So Walmart, I don't know what happened. Walmart dropped the ball or what have you, but they didn't get it up for pre-order when it was supposed to be. And then at some point during the day, hours later, after 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, it finally went live and quickly sold out in 6 seconds, like we've often seen with these things. And really nobody that I've heard of was able to actually get one. Now, with this particular Transformer, the good news on this is not really a Walmart exclusive. Again, there's this version with the numbering on the packaging that Walmart did, but there's going to be a general release that is coming in October, where select retailers, I'm guessing, most of your standard, Big Bad Toy Stores and things like that will end up having it, where it's going to be made available again in October. So I'm guessing people will have a much easier time of getting this figure then in October. But just, this seems to be a constant pattern, and not just with Hasbro, other companies too. I'm not even gonna say, while Walmart I think is horrible for these types of things. We've seen it with other retailers as well. So, Walgreens, back when they did the Moon Knight figure a month or so ago, that was pretty bad. People had a lot of difficulty trying to get it. They'd put it in their cart and it would give them an error and things like that, and then it was sold out all of a sudden. And so it just seems like this is a repetitive thing that is happening more and more. I've talked about this before. I really think companies need to take some time and address these problems. I'm hoping these aren't done deliberately. These types of things. I mean, it's happening enough that it makes you wonder. But I'm really hoping it's not something, make it seem like it's rare and valuable so that people go in a frenzy to try and get it and stuff. I mean, that would be if there was a deliberate reason for doing something like this, to me, that's what it would be, is that, either companies or retailers are trying to create this kind of made up bubble of these things being valuable. Because when something's deemed rare, then it goes up in price, and then everybody wants to get it, and so on and so forth. So, again, I'm not saying that's the case. I certainly hope that's not the case. Hopefully, these are just truly miscommunications or what have you. But I do really think it needs to be addressed by all these companies if they're going to keep doing these exclusives. It's got to be addressed by the retailers. And if Walmart, it just doesn't matter enough to Walmart to address it, then I think these companies need to start finding other places that will address these issues. But my fear is the more this happens, the more frustrating it gets to start collecting these things, the more people that are going to actually leave the hobby. Now, while we're on the subject of hard to get items, and I mentioned NECA Toys and the situation that happened the other week with the Walmart Casey Jones and Raphael in Disguise 2-pack. Well, since then, NECA has put out a statement saying that they are aware of the problems, they've heard your feedback, and they are trying to address it now. Honestly, I'll believe it when I see it, but at least they are indicating that they are trying to continue to take steps to make this stuff more readily available to us. They've also put out a release schedule for their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle product, their what they call Phase 1 of their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle products being released at both Walmart and Target stores. So you can see the next Target wave, wave 3, looks like is going to hit shelves 3 different times over the course of the next 2 months. So it looks like Targets are going to get shipments in on July 16th. That's when we'll first start seeing the wave 3 of the animated series stuff. Then again on August 6th, and then again on August 20th. The Metalhead figure is slated to start hitting shelves on July 16th. And supposedly these also are for online as well. So I don't know if that means we'll see these online on these days as well. But I would definitely kind of keep an eye out. And then Rocksteady and Bebop is going to be getting another restock in September. So if you've not yet found that one, you are going to get another opportunity. I've yet to see somebody hooked me up with my Rocksteady and Bebop, so I'm very appreciative for that. But I've yet to see Rocksteady and Bebop at either of my Target stores. Not that I go into Target every day. I'm not, I don't have time to go hunting every day to see if my Target's going to get some of the stuff in stock. So, but when I go into Target, for whatever reason, I always check those areas to see what's in stock, and I've yet to see the Rocksteady and Bebop. I only saw the rest of that wave one time, and that wasn't even at my local Target. That was at a Target that I had happened to stop into when I was traveling. So like I said, I really am keeping my fingers crossed. I'm really hopeful that NECA gets this problem solved. I think the turtle stuff is a great line. I think it's one of the best lines out there, to be honest. Minus a few quality control issues here and there, but overall I think they're very well done figures. But if you can't get your hands on them, if you can't find them without all this stress and what have you, it's not worth collecting, in my opinion. So again, I'm keeping my fingers crossed they're going to address this, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, and then for the Walmart stuff, so the Casey Jones should be hitting shelves now. It started hitting shelves on June 29th. Now, again, as I mentioned in a previous video, from what I've seen, stores are only getting 2 of those at a time. So how easily you're going to find them. I don't know. I've seen some people finding them, and like with a lot of the NECA stuff, it seems like some areas are stocking better than other areas. So I don't know. But then the Leonardo, the two Turtle 2-packs, they're reissuing the movie 2-packs. Those should start hitting shelves on July 6th. And then the Super Shredder figure is going to be hitting shelves on August 10th. And then they also announced some San Diego Comic-Con exclusives for Turtles that are going to be released at Target stores. So I've talked about this previously. Back when Randy Falk did his interview with Pixel Dan in May, he mentioned that they were going to be doing 4 San Diego Comic-Con exclusives this year, and we would see a mixture of these being released online and at physical stores, mainly Target and Walmart, I believe, are the 2 physical stores we're going to see the exclusives at. And so it looks like Target's going to be getting some Turtle stuff, which I assume means that the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives for this year are going to be animated series based. NECA has said that they are going to start officially announcing their San Diego Comic-Con exclusives starting next week, next Tuesday, which I believe is July 7th. So we'll probably be getting more details on this, in the coming days. But look for their whatever San Diego Comic-Con Turtle stuff that they're going to be doing hitting Target shelves on July 23rd. And I assume they will also be made available either on the NECA store or on the Target website. But again, we'll have to wait till next week to get those specific details. Now, as far as other San Diego Comic-Con exclusives go for NECA, so this one, apparently somebody jumped the gun and started putting this out on shelves early. I saw these images up on the NECA fan Facebook page. I'm not sure who the original person who took these images, but somebody found this Gremlins figure. It is one of the NECA San Diego Comic-Con exclusives on the shelves of Walmart. So, a Walmart store actually already put this out on shelves. But this looks like it's going to be one of the 4 exclusives. So one's going to be Turtles. One apparently is going to be Gremlins, and then we'll have to wait and see what the other 2 are. I'm guessing one will probably be Predator, and maybe the other will be Aliens. But again, we'll have to wait until next week to see for sure. But this Gremlins one, which looks like it's going to be released at Walmart stores, is one of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. Now, some of you have been asking me, I talked about early in the year about how there was going to be not only the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse blue Detective Comics 1000 variant figure, but that there was also one that had shown up overseas for essentially a repaint of their Batman the Animated Series with the blue and the gray outfit. Now, this isn't an actual outfit that he ever wore in the animated series, but I guess they decided to repaint that one blue and gray as well. So some of you, since I mentioned that story, have asked me, when is it going to start showing up here? And the answer is now. I don't know specifically whether this is a Target exclusive, but that is where it is showing up as of right now. So if you want to get that animated series Batman figure in the blue and the gray outfit, start checking your local Target stores. Earlier this week, we got some indications of what possibly the first 3 GIJoe classified 6-inch movie figures are going to be. Now, this is by no means confirmed. This listing comes from an overseas e-tailer that put these up. So I'm not familiar with this e-tailer. So again, I'm just kind of passing this on, and I would keep it with a grain of salt. But they are actually listing 3 classified movie figures as being Beachhead, Roadblock, and a Cobra Trooper. Now, the thing that I find most strange about these listings is these seem like strange characters that would appear in the Snake Eyes movie. And if I recall correctly, I don't think we ever saw Beachhead in any of the previous GIJoe movies. So I don't know. It's an assumption that any movie figures they do for the classified line will be based on the new Snake Eyes movie, but I don't know for that. Know that for sure. I guess it's possible they could do some figures based on the older GIJoe movies. But again, characters like Beachhead being in Snake Eyes just seems very odd to me. So again, keep this with a grain of salt, but this could possibly be the 3 movie figures. And if you don't remember, back early in the year, we had seen from a distributor when they first listed the Wave 2 figures, they had listed 3 non-movie figures, which I think Hasbro revealed the other week with the Red Viper, the Gung Ho figure, and the Dark Blue Cobra Commander figure. So those would be the non-movie figures. But then the wave was also supposed to have 3 movie figures in it as well, which Hasbro's not even mentioned at this point. I'd have to double check, but originally the Snake Eyes movie was due out in October. I don't know if it's been delayed or not. I don't recall seeing anything about being delayed, but as we're getting closer and closer to October, there's really been no PR push for this movie. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I would seriously doubt Hasbro's going to show any kind of product for the movie until we at least see the first trailer for the movie. So if there are movie figures coming in this wave later this year, we're not going to see them until a little whiles from now. But this could possibly be those movie figures that we saw listed in the second wave. And in that listing, they also just real quick, in that listing, the e-tailer also listed a movie motorcycle and figure set. So for the 6-inch line. So again, we have seen some listings show up in the Target computers showing a classified motorcycle and figure set. It didn't specifically mention movie, so I don't know if this is the same thing, but looks like we're going to be getting some version of a 6-inch scale motorcycle. Probably, if it is movie based, it's probably going to come with like a Snake Eyes figure or something. Now, while we're on the subject of G.I. Joe, I didn't get a chance to talk about this last week. The news of this came out right as I had finished filming last Friday's news video. But I did want to mention it for you guys. So technically, this isn't G.I. Joe. This is actually part of the Valaverse Action Force line. And if you're not familiar, that line is actually being produced by somebody who used to work for Hasbro and worked on the G.I. Joe line, so he's very familiar with the property. But he's doing Action Force 6-inch scale Action Force figures. He had launched a Kickstarter which was successful, and they continue to crank out some figures for this. And kind of at least within the realms of G.I. Joe, they got a hold of Sergeant Slaughter and I guess got permission to use his likeness and everything to do a 6-inch scale Sergeant Slaughter figure. So technically it's not G.I. Joe, it's not WWE either, but it is Sergeant Slaughter and it is in 6-inch scale, so it should match up nicely with your classified figures. So if you're a G.I. Joe Sergeant Slaughter fan, you might want to check this one out. It is up for pre-order at places like our sponsor Big Bad Toy Store. It is a little bit, it's more expensive than a regular classified figure. It's going to cost you about $32. But again, it is officially endorsed by Sergeant Slaughter. They put up a video with Slaughter, who actually announced the figure and everything. So kind of cool. And I think the face likeness is actually pretty good. They nailed the chin. He's not wearing, the outfit that he wore on G.I. Joe, of course. But like I said, this should fit in pretty good with your classified figures. For you Star Wars fans, Hasbro officially announced their next Gaming Great 6-inch Black Series figure. So we had seen this figure listed, but now we're getting our first look at it, and it is Jango Fett. So technically it's based on the Bounty Hunters video game. That's why it's being included in this Gaming Greats line, which here in the United States means it's going to be a GameStop exclusive. In Canada, it's being released at EB Games. And the figure is available for pre-order now on the GameStop website. It's slated for release in September. As far as I can tell, this is pretty much the same figure they previously released for the Episode 2 line. Maybe not as much scuff marks on the armor, and then it looks like maybe the head sculpt has been updated using the photoreal technology. The head sculpt looks better than the one that came on the Episode 2 version. But for the most part, the figure itself is the same. You've got the jetpack, you've got the 2 pistols. It does come in the updated Gaming Greats packaging. So, like I said, if you missed out on the first one, I mean, honestly, if you have the first one, even though the head sculpt looks a little better, I'm not sure it's worth getting it again. But, that's really your call. But if you are interested, or if you missed out on the first Jango Fett figure they did, again, this figure is available for pre-order now on the GameStop website. Now, for you Marvel collectors out there, it's actually been a pretty slow week for you guys. Not a whole lot of news. We did get some reveals from Hot Toys for some summer convention exclusives, which normally would have been released at places like San Diego Comic-Con. I'm not entirely sure, since most conventions have been canceled this year, how they're planning on releasing these, probably online somehow. But they have gone on and announced their summer, as they call it, Toy Fair exclusives for 2020. So they are doing a number of them, Marvel-based. At least that's what they've only announced the Marvel ones at this point. and they're doing basically they're doing Whiplash from Iron Man 2, which I believe they've done before, and then they're doing from Iron Man 2 the Iron Man 2 armor. They're doing it as a translucent figure. They're calling it a hologram figure, but essentially it's just a translucent Iron Man, so that's kind of cool. I mean, for Hot Toys, I don't know if it's worth getting just a variant like that, but I do I kind of have a thing for translucent figures, so I think it's pretty cool. We're getting Spider-Man 2099 with his classic outfit from the PS4 video game, so that one is definitely a pretty nice looking figure, and I know a lot of people love that version of the character, so we'll probably be digging that one. And then the final one that they announced, which I think is the coolest of the bunch, is a new Stan Lee figure. This one based on Thor Ragnarok as the Barber. So I would love to see Hasbro do a Marvel Legend version of this. In fact, I'd love to see Hasbro really should be doing, like, they should do a whole line of Stan Lee figures. Maybe, maybe they just do it once a year or something, but where they release a Stan Lee figure from the various MCU movies, I think would be a really cool thing. But as it is, Hot Toys is doing Stan Lee as the Barber from Thor Ragnarok. And like I said, when I get more details on how these are actually going to see release or where they're going to see release, I'll be sure to pass that on to you guys. And while we're on the subject of San Diego Comic-Con exclusives and Stan Lee, Funko also this week, they announced their pop vinyl figures that they're releasing as Comic-Con exclusives, which will be, it's kind of a mixed thing of doing online. They're doing a virtual con thing the week of San Diego, July 19th, and then all these are pretty much all these, the ones that they announced. And I'm not going to go over all their exclusives here. There's too many. But I did want to mention, well, I should say, they're going to be shared exclusives with various retailers like they've done previously. And I'm not going to go over all of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives they announced. But for Marvel, and they actually had a couple different Marvel ones, but the one that I thought was coolest was, again, Stan Lee. And this one is based on the first Iron Man movie, where he was, basically dressed up as Hugh Hefner and with the red robe and everything. So they're doing a pop vinyl figure of that, and it's going to be a shared exclusive with Target stores. And I believe the retailers will start getting it in around that time of July 19th, though I haven't been given any kind of specific release dates. I'll put a link to the story if you want to see all the Marvel exclusives, and there is a DCPI number for the Stan Lee figure available that you can check out on Marvelous News. Now on Monday, there will be a new Hasbro Marvel Legend fan channel exclusive reveal, and I will tell you that it will be very intoxicating for you. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with some SH Figuarts news on the Dragon Ball front. So Tamasi Nations is holding an event this weekend. They're calling it Tamasi Feature 2020. And with that, they've revealed a few new SH Figuarts Dragon Ball figures. So as always, I always butcher these names. So I'm just going to show you the images, which actually come from the site Amy Hobby. So I'll put a link to them if you want to check out all their images. These are all based on, I believe, the GIJoe, and I'm probably butchering that name as well, but GIJoe Force. And again, they've showed off a number of new figures. Now, official details on these figures have yet to be revealed, though I believe those will be coming here very soon, maybe as early as tomorrow or Sunday. Okay, so that's it for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything I talked about. Again, don't forget about the contest I'm doing here on YouTube, giving away a $100 store credit to Big Bad Toy Store. Stay safe out there. Have a great 4th of July weekend if you're a viewer that lives here in the United States. And subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and like the video if you're so inclined. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.